Hi class, this is Danable here. A pleasure to have met you all last time in class, and thank you to Dr. Rick to making that fun dynamic that I'm pretty sure we're gonna learn so much as we go with the flow of the class. All right, I'll be using my notes to help me out. Let's go ahead right away. Why do I think studying child development is essential for future educators? I will be an educator officially, hopefully, and I will become a certified teacher in special eds. The population that I'm willing to work with, it's not necessarily kids. However, I have had close experience with them. And when it comes to child development and how they get exposed to changes as they grow, we all have been in there. The role of an educator, the role of the teacher or a paraprofessional, whoever is involved directly with the child, becomes really important to help to receive a positive outcome from what we're actually teaching them. In terms of behavior, learning how to read, or maybe learning new concepts as they grow, the numbers, the alphabet, that's obviously for the kids, the little kids, or anything they will be using later in life. Obviously from home, there's a job that has to be done at home, and somehow as an educator, I feel that I have the responsibility to follow up, and then in order for them to become the best version of themselves, they go to school for that. And as we study the child, we might also provide individualized education depending on their needs and depending on the outcome that we are hoping for them to get from the class. We might implement different methods as well. And that's when it becomes really important for us as educators to understand the importance of why we need to know why they maybe behave a certain way. Maybe, as I mentioned, some things, most of it is going to come from home. So maybe understanding closely their background is going to help so much for us to actually develop what we're trying to do as educators. What do I think school systems can do to provide enriched learning experiences for students? Personally, I didn't go to school in the United States. However, the experience that I have so far helps me understand that technology is definitely becoming the primary source for students to get education. It has to be managed in the most responsible way for sure, and it can be taken so many, like the advantages that we can take from it, it's immense. And as we use it wisely and smart, we're always going to get the best out of it. And somehow we get to adapt it to students. In my case, what I experience daily is some student needing a way of communication, and there are some devices that they use to communicate with us that are not necessarily verbally. And that's why I mentioned that technology somehow becomes not necessarily the primary, because if anything, it will be all the responsibilities that we have as a teacher to find all the resources needed. But technology is definitely a must in order for school systems to somehow help to develop the best outcome for the students. Also, involving students in real world problem, like problem solving, let's say, when it comes to math. Somehow I feel the examples that students should be receiving and dealing with are examples of real life. Like when you go to a bank and you're trying to get a loan, like obviously as they grow and depending on their grade, they're going to have a different experience with it. And also reinforcing some values that acquire at home, like creating independence. Somehow that helps to create a strong and reliable relationship with the tutor or with the teacher. Somehow, in my case, I struggle a little bit with that because I didn't feel as comfortable to ask any question to the teacher I had, and maybe I struggled with some subjects. And also my personal touch to add value to the life of my future students or my current students in the moment is that I take, and I will definitely take the time to listen and to be a role model for them as I teach them what I think is better. And I will always ask the question of what can I do to help more and how can I approach them? And as I mentioned before, individualized education will always come handy for that. So hopefully I get to express more and learn more about it. So I wish you guys the best. Thank you for listening.